Good evening. It has been a while since I've made a video, and I thought I'm going to make one today because I fixed my vacuum element issues in my car, which was really a big deal. And I actually had thought that this thing here actually was the one which had gone out. This is the vacuum element which does the, what do they call that now? Like, no, center diverter flap. This is the one for the diverter flap. And it was a little bit sticky. You can see this, it doesn't move as good anymore as it did. But actually what happened is, I also checked the other vacuum elements. But the culprit actually turned out to be the distributor here. I had bought a new one, just in anticipation, and you can see the new one was actually manufactured on November 28th, 2008. So you can see this box has kind of faded a little bit in yellow. So this headset here at Mercedes-Benz in Florida, in Jack, Florida, at their warehouse, and I bought it from Mercedes-Benz of Durham. They had the best deal of it. You can buy this online. I think it was $70, and it has been sitting there. I guess they're not a hot item, but I can show you on how to properly diagnose this. I mean, these valves here are pretty simple. You know, you get one of these testers here, you hook it up in the back and then see if it goes out. But to my surprise, what actually happened is this one was not as good anymore, but it is not leaking. But the real culprit is these little rectangular connectors. They're sitting on here and go to these plastic vacuum hoses, and then they connect with another one over here, and you can see this on how hot they go on. And this was leaking. This was the actual one I had on here, and this was the, see this, how easy this actually goes on. And you would think, well, it does, but it is actually leaking. You can see it's not as soft anymore. And that was an original part. So the problem was more here than it was with here. But I replaced both of these here. And what I did is I had only these elbows. I did not order this part here. I had only these ones here. I had bought a bag of those. How many did I order? Let me see if that says 10 pieces. So I used 8 of them. 7 here for the valves, and then 1 for this one here. And I think I had 1 more because I put it on the other valve as well. So, but let me show you what we got here. The other ones, I thought these ones would be bad too. These are the double ones, which sitting behind the your hand glove box or your passenger airbag. Either way, whatever you got in there. And these are the 2 which sit like this. You know, there's another one here. This is these 2 which are connected with these Y connectors. That's why I got these ones here, because they're actuated at the same time. And what they do is they pull the that big lever underneath the fan up and down for fresh air and for recirculating air. And these 2 are both driven off the first and the second valve. And let me show you this here. So I checked all of those. None of them are leaking, even when you apply vacuum for a prolonged time. This here is the long one. I do not know where that actually goes to. I think this is the one for the foot flap on the driver's side. That one wasn't leaking either. But we can see this here. This has an 8-pin connector. That is this one here on the side. And you can see I've held my plus wire on here, and that is pin number 8. So you got from the top down here basically 2, 4, 6, and then you got over here 1, 3, 5, and 7. And number 7 doesn't work right anymore. I have just a 12-volt source here. You can hear this. This is number 5, 3, 1, 2, 4, 6, and 7 does not want to go. So it has a bad contact. But what is actually more amazing is this here, and this is what I found out, is the vacuum. This one goes straight out to the firewall from here, through that little check valve, and from there to your engine. And what you can see is when this is closed, like right now, there's no power applied, it should hold the vacuum completely. And I'm going to go up to about 25 because that's where it usually is. And now you can see that this is starting to lose vacuum. And you can see it goes faster, and then it goes and it goes. So this is how this unit is actually internally leaking. And this should stay steady. This should not move at all. So this was one of the reasons. And the way you can test them is, say, like if this vacuum is holding, we just want to say this hypothetical. I'm going to apply a little bit more here. And now what I'm going to do is, you can watch this gauge here. Let me see if I can show you both of them. Let me zoom out here. That's a little bit tricky. So now we're going to go, this is Y1, and that is on pin 1. And now you see both of them are going to start falling. And this is something you don't want to see. That means that this unit actually is leaking, even though slowly, but it is leaking. And you're going to have this on each one of them. So now let's go to number 2 here. So you see this, I'm on number 2. That is the second valve there. I'm going to apply more vacuum. So now we will be able to see this too. Now both are equal, but you can see they're now both falling off. So this entire system is, oops, that is me here. I just have a thin wire here to turn this on and off. Well, anyway, let's go to number 3. I think you will get the idea. Now, if you test it like this, there should be 0 leakage. The only time this should release is when there should be a vacuum here, and there should be no vacuum here when I turn off the valve. So we're going to 3, which is the red yellow hose or line with, and it is the legroom flap. And again, you can see now how they're slowly losing vacuum. See this, and when you release the valve, the vacuum actually should stay here, but should be at 0 over here for proper bleeding. Now we can go to number 4. So this means the system actually, the little switch over valves internally are basically gone. And now we're at number 4. Number 4 is wet black center flap. And here you have the same issue. I can do this again and see if I can hold it without making a bad, this is me making the bad contact here with that little bit of wire I got. So, but you can see this here now. how both of them are losing almost completely in sync the vacuum. And this is this distributor. See this? Now it goes faster. And now when I do this here, this is what you normally see, but this should stay then. So number 4 is no good. Let's see where number 5 is. Number 5 is the defroster outlets, Y5. It's the red and white. Yeah. And there we go. Oops, there we go again. You can see how the... And this is a closed system at this point with these 2 gauges on there. Vacuum, tool and gauge. There's no leakage in these systems, so it is actually the unit itself which is doing it. And so this is now number 6 coming up. And number 6 is green diverter flap, Y6. And here you can see the same issue. And you can imagine if this is leaking and your air flaps are leaking, this is going to put a constant drain on it and your system will not work right. And eventually you won't be able to move any flaps or anything at all. So that's basically where it's at. Now we have the last one. And that one has already a bad contact here with the valve to begin with. So let's see. This is number 8. Actually, it worked now since it had vacuum on it, I guess. But here's the same story. And this is the one which works intermittently. You can hear that. Well, anyway, so this unit here, let me zoom back out so you can see this. This here is actually the one. See, this is all I did is I put my wire in here and I kind of bent this around and I stuck it over here so this way I had more. See, I did this, so I put that on the number 8 contact, which is the plus supply for this. Yeah. I think I actually did it this way. I just stuck that in here. Yeah. Anyway, this is what I wanted to show you. So this thing here, which I had anticipated, which is this part number here. This is the 126-800-0978. You can see this here too, 0978. And you can see the stamp on it, 1989, week 9, made by Eaton. They probably don't make this anymore. And the replacement I got looks exactly like this, except that I have screws on the bottom here. And interestingly enough, that little filter they have in here was missing on the new unit. And the new unit was made in 2008, like I said, in France. So this thing here, this thing is toast. This can go into the trash, unfortunately. It lasted, I guess, 33 years. And that was the end of it. And this, in combination with these here, this is really where the leaks start too, is here with these little things. I would replace them. They're very cheap. I think they were like 80 cents or $1, something like this. This is this part number here. Let me see. This is the 201-805-0103. 201-805-0103. I would get at least 10, maybe 12, 14. Because if you want to replace them on the actual flaps or on the vacuum units like this here. Like I said, this one here was leaking too, and what leaks actually is the hose, the plastic hose tube, whatever you want to call it, which connects this to here with these elbows to here, is basically leaking. And they can leak here or they get stuck. In this case, it was stuck, and like this here, and then you can see this, the spring doesn't push it out anymore. See, this thing is just toast. And I was trying to read the sticker actually off here, but this has so faded since, and the replacement part is from the same company, Voco. You can see this, so that's the one I got. So this thing here is pretty much toast too, primarily because of the jamming of it. You see this? There's a spring in there, and now it doesn't come out. Now it is fully released, and then it can get stuck like this. So now you have this stuck in here, and it won't fully open your thing, and you can press this out because of the spring released. So this is how they break, these ones here. And that sits behind the radio and your ACC unit on there. This is the 126/814/75, and the replacement I got was made September 1st, 2014. In Europe or in Germany, in Europe we read the first is the day, months, and then the year. So if you look at these type of blue labels, which came from Germany, and the part was made actually in Germany, I got as a replacement. And that doesn't have as much shelf fare as this thing you had. You can see this, it was yellowed out, but it is working. So that was the main thing. And like I said, these are the ones for the, they're only used for the double flap action for the fresh air to recirculating air. And those are pretty good, so I didn't have to take the airbag out, since my car got a passenger airbag, and that made it a lot easier. I also replaced the 4 of these little light bulbs. The light bulb for my instrument lights were out. The first one was the one for the fiber optics for the top 4 switches or 3 switches, antenna switch, rear dome light, and now I forgot what the other one was. They have these little black fiber optics coming out. There's 4 of them. The antenna push button for up and down maximum and reduced height and off has 2. The dome light has 1, and now I forgot what the other one was. I think it may have been the heated rear windshield. You got the emergency signaling system on there, and there's 1 more in there. I forgot now what it was. Anyway, that was bad. Then the 2 light bulbs in the ACC unit were bad. That is the push button control. And the way you get them out is you have to remove the ACC unit out, disconnect all the top row switches and from the back, and then disconnect the ACC unit. And the ACC unit mounts to the wood thing there, that wood panel with 4 screws or 5 screws, Phillips screws. You untied them, and then you can look at the front of it. There's 2 holes, and then you can see these little light bulbs. And the way you get them out is with a tubing, either this or a little bit thinner. And you go and push this carefully all the way onto the light bulb, as deep as you can get it, and then you rapidly move it out. And then you have the light bulb sticking in here. You do this on both sides, and when you put the new ones in, you just insert them a little bit so you can just guide them. And the way they go in is with the contacts up and the contacts on the downside. Don't put them in sideways. They have to be contact up, contact down, straight in, and then you go in and you just pull it out until it snaps in, and you pull it carefully out so you don't pull them back out. Well, anyway, that fixed everything. Oh, and then the ashtray light was out. So that was the 4 light bulbs I replaced. I bought those light bulbs from Mercedes-Benz because Osram doesn't make them anymore, and I didn't want to buy any Chinese ones because I didn't want to take this stuff every 3 weeks apart. So I spent $4 or $5 on one of these light bulbs. You can see I'm crazy, but I'm tired of this Amazon stuff coming from China for 50 cents, and you're taking shit apart every 2 weeks because it breaks. So I paid $5 and I shut up and I bought 4 of them or 5 of them, $25, and I got them replaced. I got one extra one, and they're probably gonna last now 20 years, and I don't have to take that stuff apart. Well, anyway, I hope you have a great evening, and what I have left to do is some interior work, is the paneling, wood paneling stuff. There's some door stuff. I'm working on the plastic holder for my rear switches is not that good. There's a new one coming. And the latch thing for the door locks, they need to be replaced. They have a plastic insert in them. And I have 4, or I'm trying to get 4 new plastic inserts on for the latch mechanism. What this does, it is preloads the latch, so you don't have to slam the door, and the latch will snap in every time, even if you just get that thing going in there a little bit, without a lot of force. And then the rear drive shafts, I placed the order for the rear axles, and we will see if they have them, or if I have to go aftermarket, or if I'm going to buy a rebuilt one from eBay. I will keep you posted on that. And then the paint, and with the paint today, I put some car wax on there, and I tried the H9 or 9H or whatever that stuff is on a couple spots, and basically the result is the car has to go in to a professional painter who's going to restore the paint. This is beyond fixing on this car with any type of product the average citizen like me purchases in a car parts store. There's not much he can do that that needs the attention of a professional. And with that, I wish you a great evening, and don't forget to subscribe and like if you want. If you don't, that's okay too. But of course, if you want it, then you go ahead and do it. We will have some more stuff coming up. You have a good evening.